Hi guys, I just want to go over a brief introduction to using SPSS. There are some great YouTube videos within the Sakai site that shows you a little bit about the data, how to enter it, how to label it, and how to see some frequencies of the data and some descriptive statistics. So those would be really key for you to watch these to complete this week's assignment. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be opening up a large data set, and this comes from the NHANES study. It's the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, and this was begun in 1960, and they have about 5,000 people a year that partake in this. This does look at interview and examination data, so they've collected demographics, socioeconomics, dietary habits, and health-related outcomes. They've also examined participants. They've had medical, dental, physiological measurements, otherwise known as anthropometric measurements, such as weight, BMI, that kind of stuff, and laboratory tests. So this gives us a great amount of data points to look at, and they're in SPSS, so we can take a closer look at them using mathematical formulas and statistical tests. We are going to look at the 2005 to 2006 cohort. If you go to the Sakai site and you look at the research plan, it talks about part 1, and there's step 1, part A, and part B. So I'm just going to go over those two things this week. So the first thing you're going to do is get SPSS. You're going to have to put in the product code, and then it should be ready to go. And then you're going to go into our Sakai site, and I've been playing around with this, so I have it open. This is in Unit 11. Here's the database, and here's the database. So you click on that, and go ahead and download it. And if your SPSS is working, you just click on the download at the bottom left there and pull it up. And that'll bring up the whole data set there. It's going to have, like they talked about in the YouTube, the variable view and the data view. So those are the two tabs that you can look at data with. In this column here, that's just the code that they gave to the variable. And here is really where you can see what the variable is. So here's the participant's age, their gender, their race, their body mass index. So there's a few ways you can answer the question to the first part of this assignment. If you can figure out how to print out a list of variables using SPSS, you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, I think it might be just simpler to make a spreadsheet using a Google spreadsheet or Excel doc, whatever you like. And then with that spreadsheet there, you're going to put all the variables in one column and then the level of measurements in the other. So you're going to say if it's nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio. Okay, so go back to your Pollitt and Beck book in week 1. Remember about these different variables. I'll give you a little hint here. Within the data set here, they actually have the data level already measured. But they're not in the terms of the 4 categories that we are familiar with. So scale is usually ratio. Nominal is also one of the categorical variables. But you'll see they don't mention anything about the interval data or the ordinal. So really you have to go into that data set there and look at and be more specific. So what you can do is you can take this column here, you can copy all of these variables, highlight them and copy them and paste them into your Excel sheet. And then you can look at here and get a little hint about what the level of measurement is. But I want you to be specifically name one of those, the 4 levels that we did in week 1. For part B, what you're going to go do is look at some of the demographic information. So demographics are information about the sample. Demographic information is personal information. Personal statistics include income level, gender, education, location, ethnicity, race, family size. So I want you to give me some information about the demographic makeup of the people in this NHANES sample. So I'm going to ask you to give information about what are the proportion of men and women, the characteristics of the sample size related to marital status, their racial ethnic makeup, their education levels, and the age, and the BMI. So let's just take age for example. We will go into the NHANES data set, and what we want to do is analyze, and this was in the video, descriptive statistics, and then we want to go descriptives, and I already have age in there. Say OK. Let's see what it gives us. Hey, where'd it go? Is that it? So descriptive statistics, it gave us age at screening, the minimum, the maximum age, and the mean was 75.21. The other way you can look at things that are categorical data, go to Analyze, and you can get frequencies here. So one of the things we talked about getting frequencies on would be something like gender or ethnicity, because there's no average ethnicity. So you go there, press OK, and you can see here you have the percent of each ethnicity. And so it just comes up there, so you can report out on that. So the deliverables from this week will be a table with the variables. You will need that later on when you're doing your research plan to determine the statistical test that you're going to be using for the question that you ask. And you'll also give me some information about the demographics that I asked. So you'll need this for your research plan. I think that's it. All I have for you guys for now. If you have any questions, please send me an email.